Hi Pisces, welcome to Sagittarius season. Thank you for joining me. I hope you guys are well. As you can tell, I'm recovering from a flu, getting much better, thank you. Let's talk about Mercury retrograde before we even get to Sagittarius season. We've got Gemini full moon coming up, and the reason why I say let's talk about Mercury retrograde because it may have been quite an emotionally taxing time, not only for yourselves, but a lot of water signs. I'm not going to take those. They don't feel like they're for you. A lot of emotionally taxing times. Things being brought up, relationships coming up, even things from yourself, the way you're feeling. Scorpio tarot deck of death, ruled by Pluto, very much severe cut-offs and endings. Not only that, but it's almost with its pinchy Scorpio nature, one to tug at heartstrings. I'm just going to have some tea. One to tug at heartstrings. If you'd been feeling quite heavy in the heart, I wouldn't be surprised. Mercury's gone out of shadow now and is into Sagittarius, which hopefully gives communication more of an uplifting feel. Things won't feel as heavy. They won't feel as final. They won't feel as Page of Swords. Interesting. Great. So if we're to talk about this Gemini full moon, I want you guys to think about Gemini. Gemini is the sign of, yes, communication, yes, intellect. It's also quite misleading because it is almost like half-truths. This is half-facts. This is information that can lead you a bit astray. So if at the moment, having just come out of Mercury retrograde where you've been feeling quite shadowy, to say the least, going into a Gemini full moon, you know, this is an energy of illusions. This is not necessarily an energy of, it's deceptive energy. So you've got to be mindful of the way that your mind is going at the moment, right? Neptune has gone direct. For me, all this means is the truth. Neptune is the truth. It's the purest form of truth. We are in Sagittarius season as well. So this is spiritual enlightenment, seeking truth. Page of Swords makes me think communications. Aggressive communications perhaps, but also pursuing, following, keeping up, like trying to see what somebody else is doing. If not, this is communications. Pisces, Two of Swords. What is going on, Pisces? You're really in your head at the moment when you really need to bear in mind that this energy at the moment is so internal, yes. But with this Sagittarius moon, it gives you the opportunity to come out of your head. I think a little bit of attention paid towards what you're telling yourself, Pisces, at the moment, the way you're seeing yourself. If you're feeling quite self-defense, in a self-defensive stance, if you feel like you're having to defend yourself, or if things have come out that have made you see things or people in such a way that you are now with your guards up or with your defenses up, I think the trick here is to communicate. As Mercury goes into Sagittarius, as this Gemini full moon happens, communication, I think, is going to be quite pressing. I think there are going to be things that you're going to have to say, things you're going to want to say. I do think Two of Swords here, Pisces, though, there is a little bit of you getting out of your head a little bit and perhaps seeing that the energy, the influence of what's been going on at the moment has been really severe. We're also coming to the end of 2020. 10 of Pentacles. I think December for you goes from being in your head, feeling quite defensive, feeling as though there's a lot of self-mastery yet for you to do, managing to find your way, if you communicate correctly, into 10 of Pentacles. A more fulfilling, happy home situation or scenario. These are two different ends of the spectrum, okay? So let's talk a little bit about Page of Swords. Fast moving energy, communication that comes in suddenly, quickly. This is even like outbursts of you having a bit of just like an epiphany of, I need to say this. I feel like this needs to be communicated. And I think the contrast between these two cards, Pisces, really is being stuck in your head and actually having the courage to just come out and say it. Two of Pentacles. I almost think that not only has this been you withdrawing from these energies, because of these energies, and withdrawing into a headspace where it's almost like fight or flight, quite defensive. I'm sorry. It's quite defensive. But a lot of it is a focus on the self. A lot of it is how much effort I need to exert to protect myself. And I think the counterbalance to this card really is asking yourself whether or not it's necessary. Ten of Pentacles leads me to kind of think that the progress that you want is really not that far away from you. It's just a matter of getting in tune or getting in line with what you see here in this card. So not only is this financial abundance, but this is having all the family members in check, having the perfect partner in check. Not even the perfect partner, but the partner. The partner. The soul contract partner. And being so in tune with what you want that just by default you create this atmosphere of happy home, happy relationship, wealth, stability. Oh, Two of Wands. There is things that you need to take on board at the moment, Pisces. 10 years, this decade, I think in the pursuit of this, and then in the decade on this, there's quite a lot of lessons here to be learned. If you're going to look over the past, if you're going to be nostalgic, if you're going to look over the things that you want that haven't quite come about the way that you've wanted to, you kind of need to see where you're at right now. There are things that need to be said. You need to just say them. But I think a really good way to do that is spend a little bit of time with yourself. And if you're feeling defensive perhaps about a few things, if you're feeling defensive about... that's so gross. I'm so sorry. If you're feeling a little bit defensive, I would say convert that energy. Take that energy and convert it into knowing what it is that you have to say. Knowing what it is that you want. So that you can articulate it in a way where there's no two ways about it. You know what you want. You've had... And it's not just a kind of unthought of or unprepared. This is a well thought of, well prepared kind of, not even an argument, but just a resolution as to what you want, where you want to go from now. And I think Sagittarius season, I think this Gemini full moon might put you in a little bit of an illusionary state. Know that these are just half-truths. These are like, this is purposeful disillusionment. Page of Swords here is, a lot of it's got to do with intellect as well. So it's how you decide to handle this phase. Ultimately, what you're seeking, Pisces, it's really on the other end of your receiving. It's really not that far from where you are right now. And I wonder... Because there's a lot of sitting still. There's a lot of staying still energy here, Pisces. And I think if it is about staying still, being still enough to culminate an honest and sincere reflection of what is inside of you and what you want, to see in your life, you're gonna have to apply a little bit of you time to figure it out. I think it's already pretty obvious what you want here. And if this is the goal, if this is the aim, if this is the thing, the only thing that stands between you and all of that is your communication. I wouldn't say go about communication necessarily in an aggressive way. Gemini, full moon, Sagittarius season. You'll have a lot to say. Don't necessarily come at it quite aggressively. Perhaps take your time a little bit, like I've said, to be quite honest with yourself this full moon. And once you are honest, and once you're thorough, and once you've mapped it out, and once you've planned it out, I can't see how this can't manifest itself. But it can't manifest itself until you yourself are honest with yourself about what you want, who you want it with, who are these people? Who do you want here to be your partner? Where do you want it, you know? It really is as simple as putting all of the excess to one side. Breaking it down to the simple, what do I need? What do I want? How can I consolidate that? Neptune in your sign, for me, has, I think, meant that what you truly want can be available to you. What you've had to deal with, who you've had to deal with, hasn't necessarily been a true reflection of what you actually want. And I think that's kind of why you're having to be put at this position in December now, to have to really employ hindsight, to have to really look into what it is you want, who it is you want. What do you want, Pisces? Honestly. And instead of getting defensive or lashing out, you've got to get grounded. I think Sagittarius season with this Gemini full moon, you need to go into your root chakra. You really need to get grounded, and you need to activate that chakra and use that as the ground. That's the ground now. The ground that you build this foundation on. And as much fun as it might be to get carried away with the dualities of this full moon, left sword, left side of the brain, right side of the brain, use your compass. Let your compass be where you're trying to get. And know that this season you will have to very honestly, very sincerely, and quite assertively communicate your direction. Knight of Pentacles, the Magician. Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. Slow, methodical energy. Can be quite stubborn, definitely slow to move. Does, however, carry an element of abundance. Perhaps somebody preoccupied with work or things of monetary gain. The Magician, Pisces. Is this you or is this them? Somebody who obviously does it for you. I think, Pisces, the trick here for you will really have to be I think, Pisces, you gotta slow down. I think your manifestation's kind of blocked. I think you are blocking yourself. I think the slowness of somebody else Again, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I think the lack of speed in somebody else's movement might seem to you as a lack of enthusiasm. And I think that's kind of counteracting your own abilities to even be Pisces right now. And I want to almost say to you, Pisces, you can counteract this energy by getting into your own creative bag. What does that mean? Pisces, this is going to be quite a creative time for you. There's a lot of planets that are going into Capricorn, which is going to be about doing the work. And I feel almost as if once you stop waiting on somebody else and basing your decisions and your temperament on somebody else, especially an energy that's slow, doesn't even need to be somebody else, can be an energy that's not getting to where you need it to get to soon enough. The answer to that is being more creative. And I feel as if, Pisces, the more you use your creative mind at the moment, the more you use your skills and abilities, the things that you're good at, the clearer the picture becomes to you and the more patient you become with the creative process. Or somebody else to come back to you. Four of Pentacles. Clutching onto money way too tightly. Clutching onto the status quo way too tightly. Holding onto what you have so dearly that you're not allowing room for improvement. If anything, there's a lot of stuck energy here. And the answer to me is communication and being assertive and using that creativity. I feel as if, Pisces, you will have to get quite creative this season. The best way for you to counteract any stagnation and make it more progressive than regressive. Honest communication and creativity. You get a really good potential to manifest whatever you wish with this moon. But playing with your dualities and not being able to consolidate them might be stopping you from getting to where where you want to get to, and ultimately is slowing you down a lot. However, progress is progress. Slow and steady, let it be that. If this is in relation to your work, your business, there's something you need to think about outside of the box. I think you've tried and tested, and I think there are things that you need to do now that might mean that you either drop one of those pentacles in order to receive more, which might mean that you've got to you might need to slum it a little bit, but it's fine, because ultimately by going through that rite of passage, you give yourself the opportunity to create more, for people to see who you are, for you to become recognized, for you to do more. But holding on to this Four of Pentacles, I just don't think that's the move right now. Energy that jumped out was the Page of Cups. If you've been waiting to hear from someone, this might be the month. Like I said, people might have a lot to say. Only thing here is, I feel as if everyone's reluctant to act on what you already know. Ten of Pentacles. If this is love, it's that kind of love that sticks around and does the things that make the stability, that make the home, that make the wealth, that make the home. I think somebody will be reaching out, Pisces, or you will be reaching out. I don't want it to be a repetitive kind of rah, 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 rah. Everyone just sort of like, rah. You need to get a lot more methodical now, Pisces. This Knight of Pentacles is quite methodical. Might be slow moving, but his mind is fast. Pisces, use this season to consolidate your mind and your heart. What is it that you want? Really, what is it? There's a new decade coming. What do you want? How do you picture it? How do you want it to be? Really get into that root chakra. Ground yourself. Get practical about it. And I think the more grounded you get, the more you might see how, even if you have to get somewhere slowly, doing it properly is the only way to do it. Magician card. Don't let your creativity, don't let your passions, don't let your identity suffer because there's just a fault in the system, right? And the only way to do that is to consolidate these two dualities and make it one message, and then be able to present that message assertively. What do you want? In your head and in your life, like, what do you want to see manifest in front of you? What are you feeling right now that needs to come out and that needs to be said, that's holding you in a defensive stance? You need to communicate. But just like that, you need to get creative, because the minute you start getting creative, you're automatically unblocking yourself. Things begin to make more sense. You need to create that flow. Like I said, if you were waiting to hear from someone, I think this might be the month for it. Sorry. Oh, should I take these? All right, I'll take these. King of Cups. Strength card. Knight of Swords. The World. And the Knight of Wands. Knight and Knight. Sagittarius season. Gemini full moon. Creation and communication. That's it. That's the creation and communication. Gets Pisces from the Page of Cups to the King of Cups. Strength in the world. Card of Leo. World card. Coming full circle. Could be a Virgo involved. Could be a Leo involved. I see Gemini. I see Taurus, Capricorn. Gemini energy also. Could also be a Cancer or a Scorpio. There are a few beasts that you need to tame, Pisces, and until you're not taming the beast inside, I think it's very difficult for you to perhaps tackle something that you might be turning into a monster. That doesn't really need to be. I think it will work with you once you yourself come at it as from a more intellectual stance. And I'm not saying by any means saying you're stupid. The only thing I'm saying is to just clear your thoughts, get assertive with your thoughts. Like, where are you coming from? Where are you trying to go with this? But communication is heavy. And consolidating yourself. Like, I always find Pisces, this is Pisces. One going up, one going down. Right? Get them to come together. The World card does mean that something has come full circle. And if that means that the end of this decade, let it be the end of this decade. Strength card, you will need to show some strength, perseverance, and courage. And it might be time to push the communication boat, but not in an argumentative way, in a very disciplined, in a very mature and controlled way. But the courage to speak it from the pit of you, from your root. And I really wish, Pisces, that this season you will not let yourself get carried away in any which direction and led into anywhere that you want to, like, All the knights are here. These are options. These are choices also, right? Just don't let yourself get carried away in different directions. Keep the focus. Keep the aim. If this is if this is the next decade, right? And you're transitioning through the different phases of it, consolidate yourself, and come forward not only as a magician, but as a king true to your own heart. So that does mean emotional intelligence. That does mean not giving more than you should be giving, or expecting to take more. Do you know what I mean? There's an element of maybe understanding that there are waves that you need to ride right now, but that's part of your nature. You can't let a bit of downtime spook you, and your creativity will pull you out of any financial blockages. But it is about getting creative. Root chakra work is so important right now, Pisces. Make sure you do the root work, right? And don't be scared. It's only a matter of facing yourself before you decide to face the rest of the world. Jump out of the box a little bit. End a cycle. Pisces, world card. Ten of Pentacles to start another one. End December as the King of Cups, which I have no doubt that you will be doing. Be easy on yourself, December. I think a lot of it might be quite internal, but that's not always a bad thing. I think that's all I have for you guys. I want to talk about this choker made by my beautiful Piscean, one of my oldest, dearest mates, Rosa. Look how beautiful that is. She does, she makes these beautiful chokers. I'm going to put details of her website in the description box. They're great for like Christmas presents and stuff. Look how beautiful that is. See that Pisces creativity? You guys are so on point with everything. I love it. Yeah. So, I will leave her details in the description box. Fantastic gift ideas. I really love it. I've worn this choker like so much. Yeah. I'm so sorry for the snuffling and the sniffing. I'm not feeling 100% yet, but we're getting there. Yeah? Alright. Have a beautiful December. I will catch you guys soon. Take care, Pisces.